Okay, so I thought I'd speak a bit about the immigration reform package that President Barack Obama has put forward, simply because it's a topical issue. I'm not going to speak in detail because I don't know all the details. Admittedly, this is not a subject I have spent a lot of time looking at, so I've sort of observed as an outsider, and I know immigration is a huge issue in the States, so I'm only going to reflect basically on my own sort of outside reflections, and I completely hold my hands up and say I don't know all the issues. So I'm going to try to not make this a very opinionated video. Um, so basically, Obama has pushed this message that would make as many as 4 million currently illegal immigrants legal. And this is exactly a quotation from a BBC report. Millions of immigrants living illegally in the US will be allowed to apply for work permits under a major shake-up unveiled by President Barack Obama. They include immigrants who have been in the US for 5 years and have children staying legally in the US. About 4 million people will be eligible. Republicans have accused the president of an illegal power grab, and there are an estimated 11 million illegal immigrants in the US. Under Mr. Obama's plans, undocumented parents of children who are US citizens or legal residents will be able to apply for work permits lasting 3 years. Only parents who have lived in the US for 5 years will qualify. Some 3.7 million people are thought to be eligible for the scheme, according to the Migration Policy Institute. I'm not going to read the whole report. I will put a link to this. According to their statistics, BBC statistics, it says there are 11.4 undocumented immigrants in the United States. There could be 4 million people covered by this. 1.2 million people are already covered by the immigration program. 6.2 million people are still ineligible for this program. Also, it points out that Barack Obama is bypassing the legislature and brandishing his big stick, the executive order. It is governance by diktat, and the reaction of his opponents suggests it will spark an atmosphere of retaliation and revenge, although I'm not sure what they can really do because the midterms are already passed. It says the number of illegal immigrants by country of origin in 2012 was 59% from Mexico, 6% from El Salvador, 5% from Guatemala, 3% from Honduras, and 3% from the Philippines. And that's from the Department of Homeland Security, and there's some more information there. Okay, a few thoughts on this. So, by the way, Governor Rick Perry of Texas, he's the outgoing governor, is planning legal action against Obama. Of course, Texas is one of the states that is directly impacted. Someone pointed out in another report that President Bush made a remarkably similar speech in 2006. Immigration is a very hot issue in the United States. This is one of the US-Mexico border, of course, is one of the longest in the world, and every year thousands of immigrants cross that border, some legally, some illegally. From what I can see on the outset, it seems like a practical approach. When you have millions of people who are living illegally, who in many cases are working hard, they're contributing to the American economy by working hard, while always watching their back in case immigration officials kick them out. That's clearly not an ideal situation. Now, what I like about this approach is that it seems to have compassion at its core, i.e. reuniting parents with their children. The children are there legally, the parents are not. That's clearly not an ideal situation. However, I can understand both sides of the argument. I can also understand the frustration of people who have been legal immigrants, who have played by the rules, and who have basically their reckoning is, we've worked hard, we've played by the rules, we've done all the paperwork, and yet these people are given a green light. So I can understand why they would consider it unfair. And there's another point I want to touch on. It's something that keeps cropping up whenever there's this issue. There's always people, usually on the political left, and very often outsiders as well, who bring up the issue of, well, most Americans are immigrants. They were European colonizers who took the land from Native Americans. Now, whilst that is very true, it's becoming, frankly, a bit of a tired argument. The reason I say that is because the events that people are talking about, in their most extensive stage, were centuries ago. Now, I'm well aware that the implications lasted a lot longer, and in no way am I trivializing that. But the thing is, you can read about those things. Everyone knows about it. I don't know of anybody who denies that, even on the political right. It was wrong, but it's a reality. So it's becoming a bit of a tired argument to always throw out, oh, well, you Americans took the land from the Native Americans. Yes, they did, but you can't keep throwing that into a debate about contemporary issues today. Because under that reckoning, then many countries in the world can be seen to be taken over by immigrants. I know the US is a particularly strong example of this, but you know, under that reckoning, if you want to get really technical about it, the present-day English are descendants of the Anglo-Saxons who took this land from the native Britons. Now, I know the issues in the States are more recent, but I don't think you can always use historical wrongs as an argument for contemporary day issues. And the United States, like any other country, should have a controlled immigration system. That only seems practical to me. I mean, every other country in the world has this as an issue. Certainly it's a very hot issue in the UK. And I don't want to talk too much about that because it would just go off on a tangent and the issues here aren't exactly the same. I do believe some on the right are hurt this because they're not looking at some of the issues here. As far as I know, this has no impact on people who have committed crimes. So if those on the right are concerned about people coming to the States illegally and committing crime, as far as I know, they'll still be punished. It's not that they're given a green light. You know, the point is, it's a bit like the drugs debate, I guess. Individual drug use doesn't hurt others. Well, okay, they've broken the law, they've come illegally, but in many cases, it seems to me that they've come partly as economic migrants, partly to be with families. There's a whole range of reasons. So what the president seems to be doing is taking a practical approach, because it cannot be a good situation when you have millions of people who are basically like ghosts. They don't officially exist. They're illegal immigrants, and similar arguments have been put forward by the Liberal Democrats in the UK that giving people an amnesty does wonders for helping them to integrate, and it actually helps everyone. It's not just about the immigrants, it helps wider society because it makes them American citizens, it makes them integrated into society. When you have a situation where people are marginalised, they feel resentment, Americans feel resentment, and it just becomes a hostile situation. I am sympathetic to people who may be living in Texas, who may be living in border towns, and who maybe have experienced crime from some immigrants, without generalising. I think one problem the American left makes, especially liberal elites living in cities like New York and Chicago, they don't really understand what it is like in some of the border states. I do get the impression that is the case, and they're very smug about it, and they dismiss their opponents as racists, and I don't think it's racist to talk about immigration. Let's just make that clear. Whilst undoubtedly some of those who are talking about it are racist, I don't think it is racist to talk about immigration. And continues to using, oh well, the Americans took the land from Native Indians. Yes, that was morally wrong. Again, yes, that was morally wrong, but you cannot always use it as an argument for contemporary day issues. I mean, do you really expect 300 million Americans to go back to England or Germany, or that's ridiculous. It was a historical wrong, we get it, but that's just, it's a dead-end argument because it's not going to go anywhere. So I do think people have a right to debate immigration. My own stance on this, from what I can see as an outsider, and apologies, I got more opinionated there than I said I would do, so apologies for that. I really don't want to be very opinionated in this video because I don't know all issues. If you're American, let me know your thoughts, but from what I've seen, there's legitimate arguments on both sides. Also, it's worth noting that whilst this gives amnesty to 4 million people, the majority of illegal immigrants are still illegal, and the situation, so it is radical, but it is not that radical. Now, quickly a word about the president bypassing Congress. If Obama is overstepping his constitutional boundaries, obviously that's going to be controversial. Whether it's right or wrong, well, on one hand it's wrong because it's undemocratic, and that, you know, that is something that can't be taken lightly. On the other hand, Obama is recognising that radical action needs to be taken, because if the Republicans have their way, there would be no reforms. That's the impression I get. So I really do see both sides on this. It would be interesting to hear some feedback from both sides. I'll respect people's opinions. I would say keep it civil. I understand this is an issue that really stirs up emotions, but please keep it civil, and I'm not going to tolerate any racist language. There's no need for it. I believe you can have strong views on this matter without using racist attitudes, so I'm not going to tolerate that. And I'm not going to tolerate attacks against myself, because again, it's unnecessary, and you know, I am trying to be objective and see both sides. But I will allow different opinions, so this is a big thing. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you.